uh-oh, here we go. We've got to strategize. We've got some negative consequences coming up. We've heard that Jim is leaving. And so if Jim's leaving, he's finding that greener grass, the greener pastures. And so I need to figure out who I'm going to hire. Am I going to dish it off to somebody else? I got to start planning. I need to be proactive. How many times has this happened? And then what has happened because of us being proactive? We've had a self-defeating prophecy. Well, Admired Leadership Field Notes, I love, and I encourage you, they're on Substack. If you would subscribe to them, that would be awesome. I talk about them many, many times because I love their leadership, and they're very, very practical. And this is what they talk about, is this fear of a future negative consequence. That if I don't do this, this negative thing is going to happen. So I need to start thinking, planning, and doing to be proactive so that this doesn't happen. So let me start off with this. And they're not mentioning this as me. That's fear-based. Anytime as a leader you're operating in fear, you're going to go down that lonely road. You're going to, it's not a good, it's a dark, fearful, Halloween-y road. It's not a good road to go down. And you're going to go down alone because your brain is going to sit there and throw out all these worst case scenarios. And then you're going to start, you think you're being proactive, but you're being reactive to fear. I hope that makes sense. So you got to tell yourself, am I being fear-based right now? Okay, Jim's leaving. That's what I've heard. Well, let's ask Jim. Let's pull him into the office. We should have a relationship with him. We coach him. Hey, Jim, I heard a rumor about you leaving. If you want to leave, that's great. I tell all my employees that if there's something better that you want to do, that's awesome. But I want to have an opportunity to be able to have a conversation with you and us to be able to figure out, is there something that you're unhappy here? Is there something with the leadership that I've provided? What would cause you to want to go someplace else? Jim's like, I get that rumor all the time. I've had this multiple times. I'm not going anywhere. Just because I went to lunch with a competitor and had a conversation because we've been friends for a while, people see that and then they think I'm jumping ship. That's all it was I went to lunch with one of our competitors, but we did not talk about jobs. Perfect. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it. Why I have you here, is there anything that I can do to help you out? Is there anything that I need to know from you where I can understand where you're coming from? Or, no, everything's going perfect, Jason. I'm really enjoying working here. It's awesome. Perfect. Drop it. It's done. Don't think about it anymore. So, okay, worst case scenario says, yeah, to be honest with you, Jason, you've been a really good boss, but I've been thinking about leaving, but I didn't want to tell you yet because I don't want to give my 2 weeks yet. Is there a reason why you're leaving? Or is there something, Jim's kind of squirming, of course, but he's like, there's more pay and they've offered me this, this, and this. Okay, that's awesome. So those are benefits that you're getting. That's cool. Let me ask you this. Is that the main reason that you're leaving? Is because there's more pay? Like, is money is that's what's driving you? Or is there something else? Are you not fulfilled? Are you not happy in the position that you're doing here? Jim says, no, I'm happy. I'm super happy. I love working here. I love everybody I'm working with. I just, this is like $25,000 more a year. And so I think it would, that would help me and my family out. I bought a new house, Jason, and so my mortgage is bigger, blah, blah, blah. So let me ask you this. If I go, whether you're the boss and you can afford it, then I would offer a counter offer. See if there's something you can do. Maybe you can't afford the $25,000. Maybe you can afford an extra $10,000 bump and then give him more responsibilities. Maybe he can help you. Maybe he needs to be an assistant manager, a manager, whatever it may be. Maybe you can put him in charge of a different department. Give him an opportunity and show him that you care, that you love him, and that you want him to work for you. And you're willing, you may not be able to do, if you could do the $25,000 and keep an employee and you don't have to hire somebody else, it's so worth it. If he's a good employee and he works for you faithfully, that's gold. Don't look at the 25,000 as going bye-bye. You can give him the extra 25,000 and give him some more responsibilities. Think on my ROI, how am I going to get this $25,000 back? Well, one, I mean, you already did because he's an amazing employee and he works great. No one else would want him if it was that way. So, but he may want some different responsibilities. Maybe that's one of the things he's talking about is that he wants to have, more responsibility and he wants to be a leader. Well, then offer him that position. You can create positions. If you have to go to the board or whatever you have to do, do that. Fight for your employees to keep them. Don't just let them go. And don't anticipate them leaving anyways and start conniving around them and having meetings because you're going to have a self-defeating prophecy. They're going to leave. They're going to leave earlier. It's so funny to me, and they talk about this, how instantly we go negative, right? And they have this one. This is really good. They said, what would happen if we predicted that a competitor was going to lower prices and our best strategy was to beat them to the punch and lower prices first? So why would we lower our prices off of a rumor? That hurts them and it hurts you. So to beat them to the punch in an early action, that's it's not wise. What happens if you're wrong? You're going to suffer a loss of profit for absolutely no reason. So planning proactively can sometimes hurt your performance. I've seen this over and over and over again when it's done out of fear. And you need to be self-aware enough in your leadership to ask, am I operating in fear right now? I always say, am I operating in fear or am I operating in love? Am I operating in scarcity or am I operating in abundance? So, when you anticipate things with the data that you get, it could be super inaccurate. So when you start to prepare for something that's faulty, you're going to make matters worse because you're piling on something that's false. It's not truth. So gain clarity on the truth so that you don't have these doomsday prophecies hit you that you've actually made. I've done this. I've been ruthless before, didn't like somebody, and did all that I could do to make sure that they were gone, and sure enough, they left. But it actually hurt our company, and it was just me being prideful. I've had this, and I know we've all done this before. I've jumped the gun and acted on some prediction or some gut feeling that I had without any data, and it led to trouble every single time. And they said this in the article, and I love it. They said, great leaders remember that planning proactively is not always a good thing. This fights common wisdom, but acting in anticipation of an outcome that never happens will prove the point. So you're just like, well, what am I supposed to do? Just be reactive to everything? No, you gain clarity. Always seek clarity. Seek clarity. Don't be passive aggressive and plan around it. Go to it. Go to the battle. It's time. You got to look at it and say, I'm a leader. That's what I'm supposed to do. Let me seek clarity. Let me go into the battle with love and address this and gain clarity. Get data points. Get as much information as you can. Collect all that information. I always like to have a group of people when I make a decision. Get your team together. Share all this information. Have them going and collecting information too. You guys all get together, huddle, and make the decision together. That's going to, the analytics that you have on that is going to be tremendous. If you guys take the time, take a week or two to collect all the information. Spend some time on it. Get the emotion and the bias and the dogma and the fear out and seek that clarity. That's going to help you out more than anything. Because fear reactive, fear proactive, it's still all fear, guys.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.